Auzubillahi minash-shaytanir-rajim. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. We are discussing enzymes, and nowadays we are discussing the enzyme substrate complex chemistry. For today's lecture, I will specifically recommend you this Harper book because the course content of today's lecture is present in detail in the Harper. It's not available in Lippincott. Okay, we are discussing series of the lecture on the enzyme substrate complex. First of all, we have discussed the lock and key model and induced fit model. In a second lecture of this series, we have discussed the mechanism of action and its graphical explanation of this mechanism of action of enzyme. Today we will discuss the four principal mechanisms by which the enzyme achieve catalysis. Up till now, we have discussed that enzymes are biological catalysts. They increases the rate of reaction and remain unchanged at the end of reaction. But during the reaction, it involves in an active chemistry with the substrates, especially at its active site. It makes a transition state with that substrate, especially at its active site. What is this transition state, and what is the transition, and why the transition state stabilization is very important to us? We will discuss in further detail as the lecture goes on. Okay, the active site often acts as a flexible molecular template that binds the substrate to form transition state, a structure in which bonds are not like those in the substrate or product. Basically, the enzyme is modified in this state and does not remain as actual or original enzyme as in the beginning of the reaction or at the end of reaction. Suppose a substrate A is going to be converted into B, but before going to be converted into B, before this conversion, it have to make some interaction with the particular enzyme of this reaction and make a transition state with that enzyme, and in that transition state the enzyme will decreases the rate of the activation of energy of this particular reaction. As we have discussed in graphical description, that A is converted into B, and during this process A have to cross this energy of activation, and to cross this energy of activation it have to make a transition state with that particular enzyme. And what it do in that transition state we will see in detail as the lectures goes on. There is a nice schematic graphical representation of transition state. Suppose we have to uncover a sweater from an uncooperative child. So a parent have to engage the child in a particular fashion, in a particular way to do this process successfully. A parent acting as an enzyme, first coming in contact with the baby, forming ES, enzyme substrate complex, then guiding the baby's arms into an extended vertical position to form enzyme substrate transition state. and finally remove that sweater. So enzyme have to engage particular substrate in a particular manner, in a particular way, to convert it into a product. From substrate to product, there is a state in between this process, what we call as a transition state. By stabilizing the transition state, the enzyme greatly increases the concentration of reactive intermediates that can be converted to product and thus accelerate the reaction. So a particular enzyme is is a successful enzyme, is at that time successful enzyme when it successfully contact with its substrate and make a transition state, then stabilizes this transition state, and then converts that substrate into product. At the transition state, enzyme induces many mechanisms. Among them, 4 are described in the Harper, and 4 are basically, these 4 are fundamental mechanisms which are being applied by the enzyme at its active site to convert the substrate into product. What are these 4 principal mechanisms? Number 1, catalysis by the proximity, acid-base catalysis, catalysis by strain, and covalent catalysis. First come first. First of all, we describe catalysis by proximity. In the book, it's written as catalysis by proximity, but in fact, we should call it catalysis by proximity and orientation. As a general rule, we all know that for a molecules to interact with each other, they must come within a bond forming distance of one another. The higher the concentration, the more frequently they will encounter with one another, the greater will be the rate at which they react. For a bond forming distance, when the substrates come in contact with each other, but in a proper direction, they will be converted into products, and that what happens in the catalysis by the proximity and orientation. So in such kind of catalysis, molecules are oriented in a position ideal for their chemical interaction. In a position means close enough together and in a proper direction, not in opposite direction, but in a direction in which they can proceed in a reaction. The second type of catalysis is acid-base catalysis. The active site not only bind to substrate, but at times the ionizable functional groups of amino-acyl side chain residues present at active site or in prosthetic groups can contribute to catalysis by acting as acids or bases. So in most of time at active site, a transfer of hydrogen ion is mandatory to create a neutrophile. And we all know a neutrophile is a very reactant group or molecule in which it can catalyze a reaction. A specific acid or base catalysis, it can be further categorized into specific acid base catalysis or general acid catalysis or general base catalysis. The only difference in these two groups or these two categories are that in a specific group only the active site residue are involved in transfer of hydrogen and insensitive to other acid base present at the site of at present at that site, while the reaction those whose rates are responsive to all the acids and bases present in that cellular medium are categorized under the general acid base catalysis or general base catalysis. We will discuss in detail in the properties affecting the reactant catalyzed by the enzymes. In acid base catalysis, most of the time the enzyme having histidine residue at their active sites are involved, because histidine has almost the normal almost the pH or pK value correlating with the normal physiological pH of the body. Okay, the third method of catalysis is catalysis by strain, or sometimes we call it as a catalysis by electrostatic forces. Most of the time enzymes involving in the lytic reaction using such catalysis, which involves in breaking of a covalent bond. Enzyme typically bind their substrates in a conformation that weakens the bond target for cleavage through the physical distortion and electronic polarization. Suppose this is our lytic enzyme and substrates A and B will be converted into products. A substrate AB will be converted into product A and B. And after the engagement with the enzymes, either through induced fit, most of time through induced fit and lock and key model, the enzyme apply a strain on the bond between A and B. The resulting strain selectively stretches and distorts the targeted bond and convert it into products A and B. The fourth type of catalysis is covalent catalysis. The process of covalent catalysis involves the formation of covalent bond between the enzyme and one or more of the substrates. The modified enzyme thus becomes a reactant itself. Covalent catalysis provides a new reaction pathways with activation energy, where the activation energy is lower, and faster the rate of reaction. The chemically modified state of enzyme is transient. This covalent interaction with the substrate, basically it's a transient, and at the end of the reaction we achieve the enzymes unchanged. Completion of the reaction returns the enzyme to its original unmodified state. We describe it through some examples. Okay, covalent catalysis is particularly common among the enzymes that catalyze the group transfer reaction. Most of the enzyme involved in the transfer of a functional group, they uses the covalent catalysis method. Most of the enzymes involved in covalent catalysis has cysteine and serine residues on their active side, and sometimes histidine are also present. We can categorize covalent catalysis into sequential reactions or double displacement ping pong reactions. We can further categorize these sequential reactions into ordered sequential reactions and random sequential reactions. Suppose the two substrates A plus B will be converted into products P plus Q. Most of time there are bi or multi-substrate reaction and multi-substrates products in such type of catalysis. Okay, we further check out the possibilities of covalent catalysis on this equation. First of all, ordered sequential catalysis. Ordered sequential covalent catalysis, in which substrates bind in a defined sequence. We have two substrates A plus B, which will be converted into products P plus Q. So two substrates A plus B, and we have enzyme E here. First of all, A will be interact with the enzyme E and make a semi-product EA. Then the second substrate B will be entered in this equation or reaction, and there will be transition state of E enzyme plus AB. Here the enzyme will convert AB into products PQ, and first the product 1P will be removed from the reaction, and then the second product Q will be removed from the product. And at the end of the reaction, we can isolate or receive our enzyme unchanged. But during that reaction, the enzyme modify itself into different transition states. This notation is called Cleland notation, and we are discussing covalent catalysis, in which we are discussing ordered sequential covalent catalysis. Now we will explain it with the example. Now here is an bi-substrate reaction in which substrate 1 is pyruvate, which will be converted into lactate, and NADH is a second substrate which will be converted into NAD+. And our enzyme is LDH in this process. Most of time, whenever there is a NADH, it involves ordered sequential covalent catalysis method of enzyme engagement. First of all, enzyme will interact with NADH and oxidized it to NAD+, and then pyruvate will be converted by the same enzyme into lactate. Why this is ordered sequential reaction? Because first of all, until unless this NADH will not interact with the enzyme, it will not open its particular site for this pyruvate. So first of all, NADH will have to interact with the LDH, then this enzyme will interact with the pyruvate and convert it into lactate. Okay, same description of the ordered sequential reaction. We are discussing covalent catalysis. In a covalent catalysis, we are discussing subtype sequential catalysis, and in a sequential catalysis, now we are discussing its second type, random sequential catalysis. In this type of catalysis, the substrates A or B is not follow any ordered. In a previous notation, we see first of all A have to interact with the enzyme. Means first substrate NADH will have to interact with the enzyme so that it can open its port for B. But in this type of catalysis, random catalysis, either A interact with the enzyme or B interact with the enzyme, then it will engage the second substrate and convert into the products. It does not follow any sequence or does not obey any sequence. Any of substrates binds with the enzyme and the reaction starts on. The example is creatinine conversion into phosphocreatinine, in which ATP hydrolyzes to ADP. Any of reaction, enzyme is CK, creatinine kinase. Creatinine kinase either interact with the ATP or creatinine. Then the reaction will start and it will engage the second substrate and converts the substrates into products. We are discussing covalent catalysis, and at the end in the covalent catalysis we are discussing the last type, double displacement or ping pong reactions. Very famous type, although not very common, but due to its name it's a quite famous regarding Viva point of view. Okay, in this type we are discussing an equation with two substrates A and B and products P and Q. But in ping pong mechanism, first substrates enters, is altered into its product, is released with change in enzyme. A is entered into reaction, changes the enzyme and converted into product. And it's not, this A is not concerned or directly reacted with the directly in contact with the second substrate B. Okay, then the second substrate means B reacts with the altered enzymes, is altered into product and is released. Enzyme restored to its original state at the end. Okay, we can explain this notation, clinoid notation, in this way, that first, that's our enzyme, first it interact with substrate A, make a transition state EA and convert the first substrate into first product P, and here the enzyme itself modified, then take up the second substrate B and convert the second substrate into the second product, and at the end we can isolate original enzyme from the reaction. Okay, the example of double displacement reaction or ping pong reaction are aspartate and alpha ketoglutarate conversion into oxaloacetate and glutamate. And the common enzyme here is AST, aspartate amino transferases. Amino trans. Basically, there is a transfer of amine group from aspartate into alpha ketoglutarate. For aspartate to convert into oxaloacetate, it have to pass through the process of deamination, have to give up its amino group. And here this amino group is taken up by this AST enzyme, and meanwhile this aspartate is converted into oxaloacetate. And with this modified enzyme with additional amino group, transfer this amino group to alpha ketoglutarate, and this alpha ketoglutarate is converted into amine. So in this process, aspartate does not directly react with the alpha ketoglutarate, rather the enzyme AST acts as a facilitator of this amino group transfer. Let's see it in other description. Suppose same reaction, aspartate into alpha ketoglutarate. Here the enzyme AST interacts with the aspartate, take up its amine group, and after the deamination, aspartate is converted into oxaloacetate. And here, after completion of conversion of aspartate into oxaloacetate with the additional amine group, this enzyme take up or interact with the second substrate, which is alpha ketoglutarate, and convert this alpha ketoglutarate by transferring amino group into glutamate. And at the end of the reaction, we can obtain our enzyme unchanged. But during this process, there is a transient covalent binding of our enzyme with the one of the functional group of this whole reaction. But it's a very transient interaction, a transient covalent binding of our enzyme with the one of the functional group of the reaction. It's not a permanent covalent bonding. Again, description in other way. First of all, substrate 1 will interact with the enzyme and convert into a modified enzyme, and this substrate 1 will be transferred into product 1, and this modified enzyme will interact with the substrate 2 and convert it into product 2 and will be obtained in original form. Okay, at the end, dear students, we have today discussed the enzyme achieve catalysis by 4 principal mechanisms. An enzyme can use one or variety of these 4 principal mechanisms in transition state stabilization and ultimately catalyzing the particular biochemical reaction. Means most of time or at times enzymes uses either one of these methods or more than one of these methods to complete a process. Very common example of this is chymotrypsin. Chymotrypsin is a digestive enzyme which engages two type of catalysis. Initially, it uses catalysis by acid-base catalysis, in which creating a strong nucleophile by transferring a hydrogen ion from serine residue to its histidine residue, and when it make a strong nucleophile, then the same chymotrypsin engages the further substrates in a covalent catalysis method.